All right, so get this. We're going deep today.
Ooh.
Deep into what?
Healthy eating recommendations.
Okay, I'm listening.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
We've got two sources, right? The UK's NHS guidelines
Mm-hmm.
and the global ones from the WHO.
Ah, interesting comparison.
And prepping for this, honestly, I found some wild differences.
Really?
Yeah, like little things you wouldn't think of.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so you know the 5-a-day thing, fruits and veggies.
Yeah, of course, classic advice.
Well, just one apple, that's already a portion.
Huh. I didn't realize it was that simple.
Right, so we're going to break it all down.
Sounds good. Let's dive in.
Okay, so both sources, they're all about the 5-a-day.
Right, fruits and veggies.
But the NHS, they really push it hard.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's not just about, like, general health, you know?
It's more than that.
Way more. It's about preventing serious stuff.
Oh, like what?
Heart disease, stroke, even some cancers.
Wow, okay, so it's preventative.
Exactly. And the NHS makes it so clear. Yeah, they're good at that.
Like they break it down so it doesn't feel impossible.
I like that.
Like that one apple thing or a banana, one portion.
That does make it feel easier.
And even dried fruit counts. But
They say stick to meal times for that.
makes sense.
But here's the thing that's weird.
What?
The WHO, they also love fruits and veggies, obviously,
Yeah.
but they don't give you a number.
No 5-a-day equivalent.
Nope, it's more general.
Huh. I wonder where the difference.
Right, is it like cultural or,
Maybe what foods are available.
yeah, or something else entirely?
Definitely something to think about.
It is, as we go deeper.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so protein.
Oh, yeah, the building blocks.
Both sources have like a huge list of them.
Let's hear it.
Meat, fish, eggs, dairy, beans,
Uh-huh. Keep going.
pulses, nuts. It's like a protein party.
It is diverse.
But the NHS, they have this warning.
Oh. About what?
Red and processed meat, watch out for that.
They say to limit it.
Yeah, be mindful of it.
And they're big on fish, 2 portions a week.
Too.
At least one of those oily fish.
Is there a reason for that?
I think it's the omega-3s, good for your heart and brain.
Makes sense. And the WHO.
They're more like lean protein in general.
Okay, so a bit broader.
And they push plant-based options more.
So similar goals, different emphasis.
Exactly, but all about that balance.
Love that.
Okay, ready for a confusing one?
Hit me with it.
Fat.
Ugh, the dreaded F word.
Right, but the NHS is like, hold on.
What do they say?
Not all fats are bad.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that.
They break it down, good fats, bad fats.
The good ones being.
Unsaturated, like olive oil, sunflower oil.
And the bad.
Saturated, think butter, that kind of thing.
So what do they suggest we do?
Swap the bad for the good.
Easier said than done sometimes.
But they say it can lower cholesterol.
Oh, wow, so it's impactful.
And the WHO backs this up.
They do.
Yeah, limit fat overall, especially the bad kind.
For heart health, right?
Exactly, it all ties together.
I'm seeing the connections now.
All right, now for the fun part.
Oh no, what's coming?
Sugar and salt.
The villains of the nutrition world.
Both sources are like, nope, not too much.
Yeah, we know they're bad, but why?
Think of sugar as like messing up your system.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Obesity, tooth decay, all that jazz.
Right, those are the big ones.
And too much salt, high blood pressure,
Which leads to...
more strain on your heart and all that.
So it's not just about cutting back for fun.
It's protecting ourselves long term.
That's a good way to put it.
Oh, and the NHS had this tip.
What is it?
Choose fresh fruit instead of sugary snacks.
Simple but effective.
And the WHO is on the same page.
About fruit.
Well, they're more about limiting sugary drinks.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's easy to forget how much sugar's in those.
It really is.
So, little choices, big impact.
That's a recurring theme today.
It is, right?
Yeah.
It's not about deprivation.
More about making smart swaps.
Yeah, finding what works for you.
And understanding why these things matter.
Exactly. That's the key takeaway here.
I like it.
Okay, so we've done food groups.
What's next?
Well, life gets busy, right?
Tell me about it.
Both sources seem to acknowledge that.
They do.
Like, they get that sometimes. We grab convenience food,
It happens to the best of us.
and the NHS, they say, hey, frozen veggies count.
Really? That's good to know.
Canned fruit, too, even dried stuff.
So it's not all or nothing.
Nope, it's about making it work.
I appreciate that.
But then there's portion control.
Oh, yeah, that's a tricky one.
The NHS, they have visuals.
Visuals. Like what?
Like, use your hand as a guide.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Palm-sized protein, fist-sized carbs.
Right, it makes it easier to visualize.
Especially when you're not at home, no measuring cups.
Exactly.
What about the WHO? What's their take?
They don't get as specific.
No hand measurements.
Nope. More about balance and moderation.
So, listening to your body.
Yeah, knowing when you're full,
And not just stuffing yourself.
it's about being mindful.
I like that.
That's a good approach.
Okay, so we've covered what to eat, how much.
We have.
But why is this all so important?
That's the big question.
We know it prevents diseases.
But is there more?
Oh, yeah, tons more.
Like what?
Well, for starters, energy levels.
Okay, that's a big one.
Like, you eat good food, you feel good.
Makes sense.
Imagine putting, like, premium fuel in your car.
It runs better.
Exactly, smoother, more efficient.
I like that analogy.
But it goes even further.
It does.
Your mood, how you think, all that.
Wait, so food affects my brain.
Big time. The nutrients do their thing.
I never thought of it that way.
And the right foods, they help you think clearly.
So focus, concentration.
Yeah. And even your emotional state.
Wow. Food is powerful.
It really is. And we forget that.
It's more than just calories.
Exactly. And then there's the long game.
Long game, meaning
You're not just feeling good now.
you're investing in your future.
Exactly. Health and longevity.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. So we've got what to eat, how much, why.
Anything else we should hit on?
Oh, yeah, one more thing. It's fascinating.
I'm ready. Lay it on me.
It's this idea of mindful eating.
Okay, I've heard that phrase before.
Both sources kind of touch on it.
But not directly.
Not in those words, but the idea's there.
What's the idea then?
It's like being present when you eat.
Not just shoving food in your face.
Exactly, and really experiencing it.
Okay, I can see the appeal of that.
It's not just what's on your plate, but how you eat it.
Interesting distinction.
And that leads us to something big.
Okay, what's that?
We've been all about the science so far.
Right. The recommendations, the evidence.
But food is more than just fuel, you know?
It's definitely got a cultural side.
Exactly, and enjoyment, tradition.
Even social connections.
Right, so how do we balance all that?
That's a great question. I'm curious too.
Because we've got these guidelines, right?
Yep, the NHS, the WHO.
But then there's the personal stuff.
The things that make food meaningful.
So where do we draw the line?
Or maybe there isn't a line.
Maybe it's more fluid.
I think that's what we need to explore.
Yeah, that's the heart of it.
And that's for next time.
Stay tuned, folks. It's going to get deep.
Deeper than a bowl of kale.
All right, I'm using that one.
You're welcome. It's not just about like what you're putting in your mouth.
So no more shoving food while scrolling on my phone?
Pretty much, yeah. It's about slowing down.
Okay, I can try that.
Really taste your food, the textures, all that.
And actually pay attention.
Right, and listen to your body's cues.
Like when you're full.
Exactly, that's a big part of it.
So mindful eating, that's what helps you not overeat.
It can, yeah. Being more aware makes a difference.
I can see that. Makes sense.
And speaking of awareness, hydration.
Oh, yeah, both sources were big on that.
It's crucial. Like water is essential.
They make it sound as important as food.
In a way, it is. Think of it as the foundation.
Okay, I get that.
Your body needs water for everything to work, right?
The NHS even gives you a number, right?
Yeah, 6 to 8 glasses a day, they say.
But is that like a global thing? Or just UK?
Well, the WHO, they're a bit more flexible.
Flexible how?
They recognize that everyone's different.
Okay, yeah. Different climates, activity levels.
Exactly. And overall health plays a role too.
But the main message is the same. Drink up.
Right. Stay hydrated, however much that means for you.
So not obsessing over the exact number of glasses.
More about listening to your thirst.
Okay, that makes sense.
Pay attention to those signals. Your body knows best.
It's kind of cool how these guidelines, they're not just rules.
What do you mean?
They're also about, like, tuning into your body more.
Yeah, developing that intuition. Exactly. Not just blindly following a list.
More about understanding the principles.
And then applying them to your own life.
That makes it more sustainable, right?
I think so. It becomes a way of life.
But what about people with, like, special diets?
Oh, you mean dietary restrictions, allergies?
Yeah, or health conditions, that kind of thing.
Both sources do touch on that briefly.
What do they say?
They acknowledge that these are general guidelines.
Okay, so they're not for everyone.
Not specifically, they say, for those cases.
You should talk to a professional.
Right, a doctor, a dietitian, someone who knows your needs.
So these guidelines, they're more like a starting point.
Exactly, a foundation to build on.
And then you personalize it from there.
With expert guidance, yeah.
So it's not one size fits all.
Definitely not. Everyone's unique.
I'm starting to see the big picture now.
What's clicking for you?
We've talked about food groups, portions, hydration.
Mindful eating, too. Don't forget that.
Right. It all ties together.
It does. It's all connected.
And ultimately, it's not about rules.
More about nourishing yourself.
Yeah, supporting your well-being.
And finding a way of eating that you enjoy.
That you can stick with long-term.
Exactly. It's got to be sustainable.
Okay, so much good stuff covered.
We have. It's been a deep dive.
But there's this one question nagging at me.
Oh, I'm all ears.
We've been super focused on the science.
Yeah, the evidence, the recommendations.
But food is also about pleasure, you know?
It is. There's a whole emotional side to it.
And culture, family traditions.
Foods that hold special meaning.
So how do we fit that into all the science?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Because we want to be healthy.
But we don't want to sacrifice enjoyment.
And for some people, food is deeply cultural.
It's part of their identity.
So where do we draw the line?
That's a tough one. Maybe there isn't a line.
Maybe it's more about finding a balance.
That's what I'm thinking, like honoring both sides.
The science and the personal.
Exactly. It's a journey of figuring that out.
And maybe that's the perfect place to leave it.
Ooh, cliffhanger. I like it.
Stay tuned, folks. We'll tackle that next time.
Can't wait. This is getting good.
Yeah, it's like we've been so deep in the science of healthy eating.
Super deep.
But food, it's not just fuel, right?
No way.
Got all this other stuff tied into it.
Like what?
Like culture, you know? Family traditions.
Oh, yeah, those dishes that take you back.
Exactly. It's about memories, emotions.
It's way more than just calories on a plate.
It really is. So finding that balance.
Between the science and the personal.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
It is, and I think that's where mindful eating comes in again.
Oh, how so?
It's not just what you're eating, but why.
Okay, I'm listening.
Are you actually hungry? Or eating out of habit, boredom?
Oh, I'm so guilty of that.
We all are. Sometimes it's about recognizing those cues.
And making choices that align with, like, our values around food.
Exactly, because those matter too.
It makes me think about how different cultures view food.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other layer.
Some are all about fresh, local, simple.
Others are big on those hearty, slow-cook meals.
Could that affect how they see these guidelines, you think?
I think it definitely could. It's all connected.
Like, think of the Mediterranean
A
diet.
classic example, right?
Always praised for being healthy.
But it's also super tied to their culture.
It's a way of life, not just a diet plan.
Exactly. It's all interwoven.
So finding that sweet spot.
Between science and personal preference.
It's a journey, figuring out what works for you.
It is. No one-size-fits-all solution.
And that's what's so cool about all this.
What do you mean?
It's about empowering yourself, making informed choices.
Taking ownership of your health.
Yes, and not being afraid to experiment.
To find what truly nourishes you.
I love that. So we've covered so much today.
We have. It's been a whirlwind.
Specific foods, portions, hydration, mindful eating.
The whole shebang.
But the biggest takeaway for me,
What's that?
it's about mindful decision-making across the board.
With food, with your health, with everything.
Exactly, and it's not about perfection.
No, it's about progress. Taking small steps.
And enjoying the process.
Making it sustainable, something you can stick with.
Well said. On that note, I think we've reached the end.
Of our deep dive into healthy eating.
It has been a deep dive.
Deeper than a bowl of kale, remember?
You're never going to let me live that down, are you?
Yep, it's too good.
But seriously, thank you for guiding us through all this.
It's been my pleasure. Always love these conversations.
And to our amazing listeners,
You guys rock.
we hope you learned a ton today.
And that you're feeling inspired.
To think about your own relationship with food.
In a new light, maybe a more mindful one.
Exactly. Keep exploring, keep experimenting.
And most importantly, keep nourishing yourselves.
In ways that feel good, both physically and mentally.
That's what it's all about.
Until next time, folks. Happy eating.
Stay healthy out there.